In this tutorial, you learn how to merge photos into one photo that is high dynamic range, or HDR for short. HDR is merging photos with different exposures into one, and it takes the best parts of each photo and then you can tone map it. Now, the reason someone would want to do HDR is because you might be in a lighting situation that's too contrasty. The camera will only expose for either the bright light in the sky or the dark foreground, and it can't expose for both. The camera's sensor cannot see what the eye can see. So by using HDR, you can make your photo look more like the way you saw it. And this is kind of a last resort technique for if you don't have a graduated neutral density filter or anything else to tone down the sky. So what you're going to do first is load the bracketed photos. So I used auto bracketing on mine. Here I have one that's overexposed by about one stop, one that is about as exposed as it would be if I were trying to do a single exposure, and then one that's underexposed by one stop. Now I'm going to open them all up, and they load in this window here, and I can leave that unchecked and click OK. And for this pre-processing options, none of these things are mandatory. I usually leave align source images checked, and by matching features, click OK, and it merges them. And here it shows the histogram. There's the reds, greens, and blues. You really don't need that. You can do either tone mapping, where you adjust the strength and the color saturation and the luminosity and all of those yourself. Or you can do exposure fusion. And with exposure fusion, it gives you these different options down here, and you can try all of them. They're presets. There's Painterly, which it looks kind of neat, but it's a little overdone. Now, one mistake that a lot of people make is overdoing it. You don't want it to look like it's HDR. What I really like is the fusion adjusted. And then, of course, after you choose one, you can always adjust the other settings: accentuation, blending point, shadows, sharpness. I like to adjust the shadows a little bit. Lighten the shadows a little. And then there's the scroll bar over here for more options. Mid-tone, if you turn the mid-tone up, it brings out a little more light. And so you can just kind of experiment with it and figure out, the way you like it. You can use all these different kinds of settings. And so when you're done, click Process. And then it shows you your finished product. And then you just save it. And that is how to do HDR.